Hello, guys. Welcome back to another session on the compensation. Today, we're going to talk about the compensation components. We're going to be exploring the components in today's session. Stay tuned, and we'll be getting into this real short. And I'm going to try to keep it within 10 minutes to cover this. So there's a lot of numbers on screen, and nothing to be scared of. It is pretty simple and straightforward, and we're going to cover this as simple as possible and try to make it clear to you all. In today's components session, when it comes to compensation, we're going to talk about the salary, merit adjustments, and promotions, and then we're going to talk about the salary budget definitions. In the deck that you see today on your screen, you're going to see a few numbers and a few salary indicators. I'll be explaining to them in this session. If you observe that we're going to have a view of an employee information. So we got our friend John Doe, and John's salary is about 100,000. And then there are three different increases John is going to get for the work he has done. He's getting a 5% increase um, on his work based on his performance. So he gets a 5,000 increase for um, uh, for the merit component. It's about against 100,000. You get a 5,000 increase. So then again, you have an adjustment component. So we need to bring John up to market. So we're trying to bring him up, bump him by another 2%, so it gets another $2,000. So that comes in as an adjustment component. And then a promotion, he's getting promoted too. So you get a $4,000 for the promotion. So in total, he's getting about close to $11,000 as an increase. And you can see his new salary is about $111,000. So in a nutshell, he is basically getting three different components as pay elements, and these three components have helped him move up in his pay grade, and so you can see about $111,000. So now these numbers are available for us. We would want to look at what is John's market range when it comes to the job he's doing. So we have arrived at a specific pay range for his job. So we got some job market data. So you can see that John is John's job pays at a lower rate is about 96,000, and at a medium rate it's about 115,000. At a high rate it is about 135,000. So when John started at 100,000, this is prior to the increase, his compa ratio, so this is the current compa ratio, the compa ratio is about 0.87, and that compa ratio is derived by taking John's current annual salary, which is 100,000, divided by the medium salary for his specific job position, so this, which is 115,000. So John's compa ratio is at 0.87. That is how we derive the compa ratios. So now that we know the current salary, and then John has got about $11,000 increase, so this increase is now teeing up, and we're going to look at what is the new compa ratio. So the new compa ratio is based on his current salary in addition to the increases he has got, which is about 111,000, which makes it to 111,000. So 111,000 divided by 115,000 using a 0.97. So it's about 0.97 is his new compa ratio. So you can see because of this pay increase, his compa ratio has moved closer to the higher range. So now that we know how a compa ratio is calculated, we're going to explain to you how a budget is derived based on the compa ratio and the performance scale. So if you look at it, so again in this example, let's take John and explain it how John's compa ratio impacts the budget. But before we go into that, we're going to quickly look at how a budget is basically set up. So there are different ways for building budgets. The most simplest form of budget is basically you say, okay, I got 5% for this year's annual increments. So everybody's salary rolled up, and then 5% of that is going to be the budget for the increases. It's the most simplest form, and many smaller companies do that kind of a budgeting process. And then you have got compa ratio driven budgets, which is basically taking the compa ratio of the individual and then and using a performance scale, and then teeing up with the performance and the compa ratio and building uh, a percentage budget based on where people fall within the ranges and how did they perform in the organization. So this is called as the compa ratio based merit matrix. So in this example, what we have here is a salary budget that's built using the ranges and then the performance scales. So if you look at the ranges, uh, if you focus on the performance column, you can see there is a 5 scale performance column here, and it starts with exceptional, and then it moves all the way to below expectations. So in this performance, you can look at the table on the right talks about the ranges. So 0.75 and then 76 to 100 and 101 to 120. These are nothing but the percentage ranges that we have broken down. So this is the low, the medium, and the high ranges. So what we are saying here is if you look at an exceptional performer, and if he is in the lower side of his pay bracket, which is about below 75th percentile, so that would be like he would get a 5%, while somebody who is doing the same job and he's an exceptional performance and he is right there between the 76 and 100 percentile, he would get a 4%. And then similarly, someone with a higher pay and then he is also an exceptional, he would just get a 3%. What this matrix really does, it kind of brings parity in salary and makes sure it's comparable when it comes to the same job done by similar people with similar performance, so that their salaries are brought to a level which is kind of equal. So there's no discrepancy between um, two different individuals doing the same job and with the same potential. As the performance skills goes down, and then the percentage increases goes down. So somebody who is below expectation, he doesn't get any increases at all. So when you build a matrix like this over a period of time, it actually brings people to a specific level wherein their performance and pay, what they receive, irrespective of the difference in the pay ranges, it kind of gives them increase, which kind of tees up to a range based on the performance. So again, the performance and the ranges and the increased budgets are tied back to the compa ratios in this example. So once this is done, what helps now is you have an ability to take these individuals' increased design and apply it to every individual in the organization, and then you roll it up. So let's say if John is exceptional, and you can see his current compa ratio is at 0.87, so he's eligible to get a 4% increase. So we take 4% for John and bump it up against his current salary, and then that becomes as the target increase he would get for the exceptional job he's doing. So similarly, if someone else is at meets expectation, and then if they are below, so that they are between the 0 and 75, they get a 3% increase. So we take their salary, apply 3%, and then add up these salaries together, these increases together, and then that builds the budget. So a manager with different people reporting into him with different performance scales would get a budget that is very um, specific to his competency, team competency, and their performance. So, so again, this is a great model to build your budgets, so that you do not have a open budget, and you do not have a very narrow budget, but you have an optimal budget for the team to basically exercise and distribute the salary increases for the comp cycle. So again, um, come back tomorrow for another session on compensation, and always go back to the previous videos if you have questions. So have a great day, and talk to you soon.